Boss, I'm Watanabe Shinji, the Renshi of Yuiga-ryu Karate, and also a Shihan of Kudo Daidojuku. Today, I'm going to explain how to do Naihanchi for using in Kumite actual battles, which I have been asked to do for a long time. But before I do that, please let me introduce myself a little for those who are watching my videos first time. I'm 59 years old now, and I'm still a Kudo competitor. It's in the adult category, not the senior category. I always fight against younger fighters whose age is like my son, or sometimes like my grandson. Kudo is a mixed martial art that combines karate and judo, and is a very intense fighting sport with full contact knockdown rules. So I'm often asked from many people, amazing, what makes you can do that? The answer is kata. Yes, karate kata. Even though I'm over 50 years old, in order to fight with younger fighters, I've been pursuing a way of fighting that does not rely on my physical abilities, or in other words, my youth. As a result, surprisingly, my Kumite style became closer to the old karate movements. I did not consciously try to adapt the old karate movements. It just came naturally. So, this led me to think, is the old karate movements still effective, even in modern fighting competitions such as Kudo? I became interested in kata as a compilation of the essence of the old karate movements. So I started to study and practice kata on my own, especially Naihanchi. And then I found that the movement I was looking for could be defined by practicing Naihanchi. As I said earlier, Kudo is a mixed martial art of karate and judo. But at the same time, it can say Kudo is also a modern fighting sport closer to the battle of the origin of karate. And the era of karate origin is the era that kata was working as the effectiveness training method. In that meaning, it was natural I was able to verify effectiveness of kata through Kudo fighting. Through my own research and practice, as well as verification in Kudo competitions, now I can say it with confidence, kata is a very effective training method designed for actual battles. By practicing kata, mastering kata movements, and being able to fight using kata movements, you will be able to get the power, speed, and stamina you need in actual fights without relying on your physical use. I know there are lots of people who say, no way, or that's ridiculous, but it's true. For more information on why kata gives you the power, speed, and stamina you need to fight, please watch the videos in playlist What is Kata, What is Naihanchi. Even if you've already seen it, please watch it again. Please watch it again and again. Then, from this video into several times, I will explain how to do my Naihanchi, which I have been asked to do for a long time. This is not a kata for kata competitions, but a kata that is an effective training for Kumite actual battles. I'm getting old and I'm worried about my physical decline. I longed for the masters in movies or cartoons, the ones who stay strong even as they age, and wanted to be. But now I find myself getting weaker and weaker as my physical strength declines. What should I do? I strongly hope The series of this video will help karateka and kudoka who have such problems. Then, check it out. Osu. Osu. Today, I'll start by explaining Naihanchi's posture and how to walk. Oh no, what a boring topic. Don't waste time and just tell us about Naihanchi itself. Please don't think like that. The posture and how to walk are really important. As I explain in my various videos, fighting by kata movements is ultimately synonymous with fighting while walking. Walk correctly with correct posture. If you cannot do this, there is no point in doing kata. Please understand it. Now, let's try it. First, pressing your heels together and stepping hard on it. And stand up straight as if you are being pulled up. This will naturally raise your hips and throw plexus upward, resulting in your shoulders falling back. This will naturally tighten the latissimus dorsi. Latissimus dorsi is the muscle that connects the base of the upper arm to the top of the pelvis. So, when this muscle is tightened, your entire body is unified. The unified body gives you an advantage in power, speed, and stamina. From here, close your toes and keep putting your weight on your heels and drop your hips. If you look at it from the side, your hips will position back a little, like this. The hips should not fall vertically and the knees should not go forward like this. This is what happens when the weight is pressed on the toes. Divide the entire sole of your foot into 3 parts and put your weight on the line of the heel side, 1/3. Then open your legs to the side 1 step. Your feet should be facing forward. Both feet should be parallel. The width of your feet should be about twice of your pelvis. Your knees should be slightly outward. However, make sure that your weight does not escape to the outside of your feet. Stand firmly using the entire sole of your feet. This completes the posture. Okay, let's try it again. Your heels are stepping hard and stand up straight as if you are being pulled up from above. Close your toes and drop your hips. Keep your weight on your heels. Your hips should be positioned back and your knees should not be further forward than your toes. Then take a step to the side. Your feet should be twice as wide as your pelvic width, and your torso should point forward and parallel. Your knees should be outward, but don't go your way to the outside. use the entire sole of your foot. You are now finished. You can check with your eyes to see if you are standing correctly or not. Lower your head and look at your feet. If you can see your toes slightly, it's correct. But if you can't see your feet at all, it's overweight on your toes. Conversely, if you can see whole your feet, it's overweight on your heels. As anyone who has ever done weight training can easily see, this Naihanchi's posture is very similar to the quarter squat stance. Quarter squat is the stance that allows you to hold the heaviest barbell. In other words, this is the posture you use your skeletal structure correctly and catch gravity most comfortably. Here are some examples of common mistakes. The first one is to open your toes. The correct position is parallel, right? If you keep your toes parallel and lower your hips, you will naturally stop at a certain point. This is the shape of the skeletal frame during the weight. However, if you open your toes outward, you can squat as far as you want. To stop in the middle position in this form, you have to rely on muscle power, not the skeleton. Another posture that is easy to make a mistake is to place your weight on the toes. This causes the knees to move forward, the hips to tuck in. This is another way of standing that relies on the muscle strength in the front of thighs. It puts a lot of strain on the knees and lower back. In terms of actual fighting, movements that place a burden on specific muscle strength have a negative effect on stamina, for example. Or, in terms of training, it increases the risk of failure in the long period. Also, another example, standing with your toes and knees turned inward. This is not good too. All of these are out of shape of using the skeleton correctly and accepting gravity most comfortably. My Naihanchi don't adapt these postures. Excuse me, but let me please give you a supplementary explanation. I have just explained some of the mistaken postures, but in fact, there are many schools to adapt that approach. But please don't get me wrong. I do not deny their ways. I'm just saying my karate doesn't use that method. I want to explain it as clearly as I can to everyone watching this video. It's easy to say my way is this or that, but I don't think that's really an explanation. It's easy to say that the right way is A and be done with it, but I feel that dishonest. If I say that my method is A, then I have to explain why it has to be A and why it cannot be B or C. If I don't explain that, then I have not really explained it. I think so. That's why I introduced the B and C ways earlier and to explain of why they are not good. Again, I'm just explaining that I don't take the B or C way and that the reason is this. Not that I'm denying the many schools that adopt the B or C ways. Please don't misunderstand me. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I define kata is a very effective training method designed for actual fighting. So I believe that if you can become stronger through the practice of kata, whether it's method B or C, then it's not wrong and is not something to be denied. But if a certain school takes method B, why does it have to be B? And why not A or C? They have to be able to explain it clearly. Similarly, if there is a school that takes the C way, why do they take the C way? And why not A or B? They have to be able to explain it clearly. If they can explain that, and you can get stronger with that kata, then it is the right kata. On the other hand, if you can't explain why you have to do like that, or if you can't say with confidence that you can or have become stronger in actual battles through practicing that kata, then you don't really understand kata yet. Then let's back to the topic. You step hard on your heels and stand up straight as if you are being pulled up from above. Close your toes and lower your hips with your weight on your heels. Your hips should be positioned back. And your knees should not be further forward than your toes. Then take a step to the side. Your feet should be twice as wide as your pelvic waist, and your toes should point forward and parallel. Your knees should be outward, but don't go your weight to the outside. Use the entire sole of your feet. Once you are standing correctly, the next step is to walk while maintaining this posture. You can start from the right or from the left, but let's go to the right, shall we? First, look to the right and walk without any vertical movement. Now, let's go to the left. Look to the left first. Keep your posture, cross your legs, and move. It's forbidden to kick or bounce on the floor like this. Keep the posture and move like a floating thing is sliding. At this point, the most important thing is the gaze. You already know the human body has various fields, center of gravity in various parts. as explained in the video, The Secret of Naihanchi, don't you? If your gaze moves, your head seriously will move with it, even if only slightly. This unnecessary movement has bad effect on the posture and COZ of the entire body. The unstable COZ leads to loss of power, speed, and stamina. Therefore, as I said earlier, you can understand you are standing correctly or not by look. But you should not look your feet or mirror for checking your posture while you are moving. Oops, I forgot to mention, by the same reason, keep holding the belt. When your arms move, the movement of the COZ of those arms disrupts the movement of the COZ of your entire body. Set your gaze first before moving, and never move it. At this time, do not move fast. The faster you move, the more you cheat. It's more difficult to accurately control your COZ when you move slowly. It's just like riding a bicycle. Now, your weight is 5 here. If you look to the right, the COZ of your whole body will move right by the weight of your head. So the weight should be 5'5", 6'4", 7'3", 8'2", 9'1", 10'0", 1'9", 2'8", and so on. It's very difficult and very tiring. Many people have misunderstanding, but actually kata training is very difficult and very tiring. It's impossible to become strong by doing only something easy and comfortable. That's obvious. That's it for today's video. Next time, I'll start to explain the actual Naihanchi movements. Maybe it will be uploading 4 or 5 weeks after. But please don't think it's too far away. As I mentioned earlier, there's no point in doing kata if you can't do today's posture and walking. In the meantime, please make sure you have mastered today's movements before the next video. See you. Off.